Glasgow, Scotland. How's it going, guys?
Yeah, very well. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, anytime. Really appreciate you guys coming on. Let's dive right into it. So when and how did you guys form?
Probably Fraser's best person to ask. It was all this guy's fault.
Back in the day. Me and these guys have been writing music together pretty much since the days that we met. Like, I know Elliot from way back in the day. We used to play in like a gimmicky pop punk band back when we were 18. And the day I met Elliot, he was coming in to replace our vocalist at the time. And so I met Elliot the day he was writing music and that for a band. Billy the same. I was playing in like an indie band a couple of years ago as well. The day I met him behind the kit as well. And then when that band that me and Billy were in sort of collapsed, I was sort of left with what do we do now? So I just rounded these guys up and said I've got some riffs. Let's go to the practice room and see what happens. And it's become quite fruitful. We've been doing it for a couple of years now and that.
Yeah,
that's sick.
No,
I love it.
Thanks.
So I really did all start from just like a jam, and it's probably important to say as well. It was kind of just as lockdown was kind of easing off as well. So like all of us had Elliot does a load of music stuff, so he'd been working away in his own time in lockdown. But like certainly for like me and Fraser anyway, it was a whole like year and a half ish where like we weren't playing in bands and stuff like that. So I think there was the real itch to just kind of get back on that after so long of not being able to like play for people and stuff.
Yeah, especially for me because I've been in band since I was in high school, and I think the same is for Elliot as well. Billy's been playing drums since high school too, so coming out of lockdown as well, we were gagging for it.
Yeah, itching to get back for sure.
I feel you guys. I definitely do. Right on. So you guys released Back to IKEA last June. How's the response been to it?
Yeah, not too bad. Some of the other singles I think have done slightly better, but we're very proud of how this one came out. I certainly think that it's one that sounds really good on track, but also sounds quite good live. I think there's a good atmosphere for it there too. It's like slightly softer as well than some of our stuff can be kind of loud and large, so I think it's good for like a separate kind of audience.
Yeah, like the whole reason we recorded it in the first place was because when we were playing like live in Glasgow, that was the song that people were kind of coming back to us after the show and saying, "Oh, I really like that song." So that was the whole kind of inspiration for kind of recording it in the first place, just kind of giving the people what they want. And I think more to the point as well, we never really have mad expectations when we release anything because like we are a local band. We don't have mad expectations of ourselves because we'll probably just disappoint ourselves. But we've had good feedback. Like the people who have listened to it have given us solid feedback, particularly on like the production work as well, which huge thanks to Sean, our producer, for that as well, because he did a lot of good work. Sean Mitchell. He's a big guy in the scene over here in Scotland, so he helped us a lot with that as well. So it came out sounding really, really good, but we've got some more irons in the fire for the coming year. Don't want to reveal too much today. However, we're very excited about what's to come.
Right on. Well, I'm just as excited, if not more.
Oh, thanks, man.
Can't wait to listen to it and promote it.
Hey,
much appreciated.
So, who do you guys record it with, and how was the process?
Got a step ahead of us there.
So with Sean Mitchell, as I said, that we recorded it with, he's worked with loads of different emo bands and kind of scene bands and around Scotland. He's been in successful bands himself as well. Probably the most notable to people in the Scottish scene would be the band Dude Trips, was probably the most noteworthy that he played in. But he's kind of focused on a wee bit more production. So we worked with him. He's got his own studio. And the process was really good. Like, to be fair, we're probably quite a good band to work with. And I don't mean to blow our own trumpet too much, but we go into the studio pretty well prepared. Those songs were written before we went in. So it was a really kind of just a case of like just a very structured process. Like we all knew what we had to do and we went in, we did it in a few days. And it was very relaxed as well, to be fair. Like we'd worked with Sean before. A wee bit as well. We know what he's like, and I think
the way that we got in contact with Sean was quite natural and quite organic as well, because he'd seen us play at a show in a bar called Broadcast up on Main Street in Glasgow, and he met us outside and was talking about I like you guys sound, and I'll do you a deal if you record with us and promote my production. So it was like sort of I scratch my back, you scratch your back, that vice versa kind of thing. The sort of that sense of like community that we have in like the Glasgow scene as well, because he's doing that for lots of other bands in the scene as well, getting his name out there and stuff. So it was really cool to work with a guy that's as well connected as he is, and it was really nice that the connection came organically like that as well, from like seeing us play and being at shows and stuff.
Right on. That's awesome. So you guys are from Glasgow. How's the emo alternative scene there? Do you guys have a favorite local band, favorite venue?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The local scene in Glasgow here, we're a little bit more like twinkly and melodic. A lot of the bands in Glasgow are like proper like screamo bands and quite like heavy and intense and that. But I don't think we fit in quite as much as maybe we should. But I do think we have our connections there. We've played with all these bands and stuff before. I would say Fear is a really good band for me.
Yeah.
Frog Costume as well. They're a great band too. Bands we've played with in the past, and I've even played with a few people that are in those bands as well. So good bands for like a sense of community as well, because they put on their own shows and ask other bands to play, and we've put on our own shows and had them play for us and stuff too.
Yeah.
So beyond their music, they're just really cool guys, and they put in work in the scene and stuff too. So
For sure.
it's really...
I think the Glasgow scene especially has got like a really good population for this kind of stuff, because there's like enough people here that there's like lots of different styles and lots of different people can make lots of different types of music and the subgenres of emo and screamo and like emo violence and stuff like that. So there's like a lot to choose from and a lot of people doing really cool stuff, but not so much that it feels massively oversaturated. Which is like creates quite a nice balance.
There's a good sense of like DIY ethics in the Glasgow scene as well. Like a lot of people are putting on their own shows, and like rather than working with promoters
half the shows
that
we've
are cutting
done
like
have been our own.
70% of the ticket sales out. Being fair to every band, making sure everybody gets paid, and sometimes just putting them on for charity events and that too. So the good DIY ethic in the scene in Glasgow as well, which has been really, really kind to us over the years we've been together.
Yeah, can't say enough good things really.
That's what's up. So who would you say your biggest influences are?
Hot Mulligan.
I like Hot Mulligan.
I think we have been labelled as something very quite affectionately labelled as a bit of a Hot Mulligan rip-off at times. There's been at least like a good few times we've been at gigs where like people have come up afterwards and said, "Oh, you've got a real Hot Mulligan thing going." So that's probably the one that stands out the most. I think probably on an individual level, we all come from slightly different places, and I think that's probably what makes our sound the way it is. I think we do err on the more kind of mathy side, but I do think there's a lot more to. I wouldn't go as far as to call us math rock, because I think we do a lot more than that as well.
Yeah.
So probably on the individual level, the answers would be very varied. But if you're listening to us, you're probably going to think of like your Hot Mulligans and your Free Throw, etc. And to be fair, they're all bands we've been inspired by as well.
Tiny Moving Parts is a massive one for me.
Huge,
especially for like the guitar work and that in the band and stuff. And if you listen for a catalogue, I'm sure you can hear it because I wear the influence on my sleeve. But Dylan Mathiasson from Tiny Moving Parts is a great guitarist and a massive inspiration for me.
So here's the $1 million question for you guys. If you could tour with one of those bands, which one?
I'd like to tour with Tiny Moving Parts because I've met Dylan after a show a couple of times, and he is like the loveliest, sweetest guy I've ever met.
Yes, he's a really nice guy.
For being a guy that's in like a really popular band and that, he's got a lot of time for people after shows and stuff too. So I get a really good vibe off of Tiny Moving Parts. I like their music a lot, and I think they're cool dudes. I'd like to tour with them.
Yeah.
Mine's to be really left field, but if it was me, I'd love to do a tour with Sunny Day Real Estate.
That'd be sick.
I'm quite heavily influenced by kind of that second wave kind of 90s emo sound, and they'd be such a cool. I mean, I know they've been doing a load of anniversary tours in the States. I don't think they're going to end up coming over here, but if I got the opportunity, I'd bite my hand off to play with them because they've just got such a cool sound. And I think they fly under the radar a lot as well. I think they don't often get as many mentions, I think, as they should.
Yeah,
so
good piece of emo history too.
Yeah.
I know you only asked for one, but I'm going to give you a third here. The band Sweet Pill, they're coming over to Scotland soon, but I think they match our sound quite nicely as well. I think that it would be lovely to support them at some point. That'd be sick.
We could keep going, but we'll stop
there.
We could keep going.
Oh, you're good. All good. I mean, I'm all for it. Can't go wrong with any of those bands, and never say never. I mean, it's one of those things where you just never know. Like maybe one of these days they'll announce a Scotland tour, and then they'll just show up on your front doorstep and you'll be ready to rock.
I think that's one of the things I've enjoyed the most about the Glasgow scene is that when bands do come from elsewhere, it's like you never quite know what opportunities are coming your way. I mean, we had last year we played with Chinese football, and it was their first ever tour outside of China, their first ever time in the UK, and we knew who they were, and Fraser in particular was already a huge fan of their work. And that, again, it's like you say, that was something that kind of just came out of nowhere, and that was probably one of our best shows last year. If not, I would maybe even go as far to say the best, just in terms of it's just such a cool night.
Yeah,
and they were really, it was just such a unique band to play with as well. Coming over from somewhere like China, somewhere we'd might never go in our lives and whatnot. People we might never have met otherwise.
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. So now I'm going to ask you guys some non-music questions. It's a good way for me to get to know you as people. I did this with the other bands. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. First one. If you could be fluent in another language instantly, what language?
So I'm already fluent in another language. So I'm beating you guys already. I'm already fluent in Italian. So I've already done that. If I had to pick another one, I'd want it to be something, I don't know. I could think about this for ages. You guys answer first.
I'd don't know. I'd say Italian. I'll know a little bit, obviously, because I live with Billy, but I'd like to be able to, spit back at him with the. But yeah, no, I'm terrible with other languages and stuff. So yeah, but Italian would be cool, just so I can, shoot the stuff with Billy.
Yeah. I'd like to be able to speak Spanish so I can know what they're saying in the middle sections of those Brockhampton albums.
I don't know. I think for me, now that I think about it, probably German, just because I think it'd be fun to speak. Like it's always a language that I think, like, a lot of people think it sounds ugly, but I think it sounds fun. And apparently, I've been told from people that learn it that it's like a big puzzle.
Yeah,
and I like a puzzle, so it sounds cool.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
9.
That's all I know.
I know how to answer that, and that's it.
Can't go wrong with any of those. What's your favorite color?
I like violet, like a light purple, like a bit of a pastel goth me.
Nice. I also quite like purple, but to be different, I'm going to say teal.
On a similar theme, I'm just going to say blue. Just straight up blue. It's mine. Very simple.
Those are different answers. Because I feel like most bands will say like black or, just very or gray or white.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't. It's one of those.
It reflects greatly
colors, don't you?
We are all wearing grey right now.
True. I'm not wearing a lick of blue at all. I don't think anyone's wearing their favorite colors.
It's very
Yeah, I just feel like a lot of bands just like very basic colors.
Fair.
No, to be fair, for an emo band, we're quite colourful. Like even in their palette for artwork and stuff, we try and incorporate a bit of colour. We're not.
My guitar is baby pink.
Yeah, we're not complete black and white. We're probably more of a pastel emo band.
Yeah,
there's a great genre name, pastel emo.
Wes Anderson film of emo.
Sticking out from the crowd, I love it.
Yeah.
So if you guys could go back in time and talk to one world leader or person of influence, who would it be?
That's a great question, man.
How are we defining? Sorry, what's the second bit you said? Either world leader or.
So if you go back in time and talk to one world leader or person of influence, who would it be? And dead musicians do count.
Okay, cool. Well, I have an answer. You got one?
Oh man, I think it'd be so cliche, but mine would probably be Kurt Cobain, man. I've been a fan of Nirvana for a long time, and bit of a childhood influence for me as well. Obviously, I think I've strayed sort of away from that kind of music as I've got older, but as a kid, I was very much idolizing Kurt Cobain and stuff. Don't know if that's maybe a good thing or not, but
probably not alone.
Yeah.
You want to go?
No, on you go. I'm still
smashing. Mine's probably also a bit cliche, but Freddie Mercury, 100%. Very big point of influence as well from like a performance and musicianship standpoint. And I don't know, he seems like you'd be good to have a pint with.
I think he would be, aye.
Yeah.
I think he'd be great to have a pint with, aye.
I don't know. I kind of want to go down the world leaders route, but a lot of them aren't very nice people. I feel like after a few minutes, I'd just be like, nah, you know what? Actually, this is a big disappointment. I suppose it'd be cool to ask Margaret Thatcher where the milk went. I'd maybe use it for that.
That's a different answer.
Also, if she could give us that, so that'd be great.
Then you'd know.
Then we'd all know.
Keeping things interesting. I like it.
Oh, that's as much as I could think, though. I just think anyone else would just be, if I tried to go into it too seriously, it would just be a disappointment. Never meet your heroes.
Very true.
Yeah.
So if you guys had $1 million and you could donate it to any charity, which one?
Ooh, That's a question I've never been asked before.
Yeah.
Usually it's like, what would you do with $1 million? I like the very
What charity
benevolent
would you
kind
give
of
to?
direction
Yeah.
that question's come from. I suppose for me it would have to be something to do with like cancer research, just because of my family. Like most of the people that have died in my family, it's been due to some form of cancer. So that's the first thing that kind of springs to mind, even if it's a very straight down the middle answer. I think that'd probably be the one that would spring to my mind.
I like those ones that are like children's hospices. Like the child's
Yeah.
definitely going to die, and so they just like buy them like a rake of cool stuff. Kind of do like Make-A-Wish type things. That seems like that'd be quite nice. I'd probably donate a chunk to that for sure.
It's a difficult question for me. I do have somewhat of a wee bit of a selfish answer as well. I would like to donate, like if I could split it up, I'd like to give a good portion to cancer research. And there's a charity in London as well that goes into preventing like knife crime and building youth centres and that for these kind of people. I cannot remember what the name of the charity is off the top of my head, but I'd love to give some money to those guys. And my selfish answer would be, back in my hometown, there was a youth centre and they ran a thing on a Wednesday night called Jam, and it was for like young kids to come and do music. There was amps and guitars and drum kits and that for them to play on that, and it was completely underfunded and ran on the good heart of people in the town and stuff. And if I could give any money to anywhere, it would be that place, because it's a big reason for like the person I am today and this band being a thing and my proclivity for music in the first place. So
that's not selfish.
I feel like
that's probably the best answer any of us have given.
There's a million things you could give it to though, but like if a selfish answer, I would love to give it to that youth centre in my hometown, because it's an absolute godsend, especially because I come from a wee town in the middle of nowhere where there isn't a lot of things to do, and I feel like it's a bastion for music and putting people on a path to create music and become musicians and start bands and stuff. And I think it's a really important thing.
Nice. Buy a lot of drumsticks with £1 million.
Yeah, you do. As I said, I'd like to split it up, give them some money. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. All right, guys. Last question. What are some places in Glasgow that visitors should check out?
Block.
Block Plus was gonna be my answer as well.
Block Plus, absolutely amazing bar. It puts on some cool bands. You'll see one night you'll see like a DJ, the other night you'll see like an instrumental like rock band or black metal band that wears masks or something. It's a place that has an absolute bastion of like different acts every other night.
It's a very eclectic bar, but what I like about them so much is that they're supportive of like not just our scene, but like quite literally any music scene in Glasgow. They're also really good with like artists and stuff. They don't do any bad deals, and the gigs are always free as well. So there's never ever an excuse.
It's always
to
free
not
entry.
Go. It's always free.
Pay the bands. There's always beer for the bands. There's always pizza for the bands. You get paid. You don't have to push tickets. People show up and you get treated well. The sound tech's good. You've got to bring your own gear in that, but that's expected. But a great place. I love Block.
Yeah, 100%. I can't say enough good things about Block for sure.
Yeah.
Kelvin Grove Art Museum is good as well. So if you don't like music so much, you should go there.
There's a bit of culture there as well.
Yeah. Well, the art gallery's cool, and the whole area around that with like the university as well. If you want to go and get a load of pictures for Instagram, if that's your reason for going on holiday, then that's where you go in Glasgow.
Yeah, for sure.
But I mean, to be honest, like we could sit here and list tons of good live music venues. Like if you wanted to go down like the music tourism route, Glasgow's probably outside of London. I would contest that. With maybe Manchester as well, I would contest that Glasgow probably has the best live music scene in the country. So you'd be definitely very well catered for. And if you come see us, we'll buy you a drink and show you a great time.
Come to Glasgow. Don't go to Edinburgh. It's a shortbread tin of a city. Glasgow's where it's at.
That's funny. Yeah, that's definitely interesting. I definitely wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'll have to come and see for yourself.
Absolutely. Cool when I get over there, you're gonna have to show me all those places because Glasgow and Scotland's on my bucket list. I need to get there.
100%. One other thing I would say as well, if you get the time, go to the Scottish Football Museum as well, because you can't be in Scotland without getting football is a huge part of the culture here. If you go to the Football Museum, you don't just learn about sport, you learn about people, you learn about working class communities. It's fantastic. You should go there as well.
Man's not
wrong.
That
sounds incredible. Is my boy Sir Alex in it?
Yes, he is. He's in the Scottish Football Hall of Fame. Of course he is.
Yeah.
Have to be.
He's a legend. One of the greatest.
He is. And well, he went to school less than a mile away from here.
that's
He's a local lad. In fact, he was in the same year as one of my uncles, funnily enough. He was a very good, apparently was very talented as a teenager as well. But I mean, he's probably the most recognizable name. But I mean, it's not even just like the big names in the game, but like it's just the way in Scotland as well. Scotland's very different from England because I feel like Scotland's definitely got more of a kind of working class grip to it in a lot of parts, with maybe the exception of Edinburgh. And football and sport in general has played a huge role in that. So, Sir Alex Ferguson coming from that kind of background even speaks to that. So go check that out if you're here as well.
Very interesting. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on, chatting up, and the support means the world to me.
No, listen, thanks so much for having us, man. It's been really cool to talk to a fresh face and listen to, if everyone that's listening has enjoyed it, go find us on Instagram and come say hi to us. We like talking to people. We're called the Really Social. We're actually quite chatty and sociable. Who'd have thought it?
I can hear you guys talk all day, every day. I absolutely love the Scottish accent.
Well, this guy here has also got a radio degree, so he's got the perfect radio voice.
Communications degree.
Double whammy.
I was actually slightly worried that I wouldn't get understood on this podcast, but if anybody needs subtitles, I'll be happy to provide them afterwards.
There's always that one guy. Right on. So for the people that are going to watch this later, where can they find your music at?
Pretty much everywhere.
We're pretty much everywhere to do
Spotify,
music.
Apple Music. We have a Bandcamp as well. I can provide you these links afterwards if you need them. We have Amazon Music. We're on YouTube as well if you use YouTube for music. Pretty much if they stream music, you can find us there.
Social media as well. Instagram's probably where we're the most active as well. We do post to Facebook on occasion, but people tend to chat to us on Instagram, so that's where we like to be.
We are playing a show on Saturday with Cold Ears. If anybody from Glasgow is listening and feels like coming down,
very true. We've got a wee show on Saturday, so that'll be cool.
Looking forward to it.
Do what the man says. Go down there, support local music. I'll be there in spirit. Wish I could be there.
Yeah, DIY or die.
We'll have a drink for you.
Aye.
Really appreciate it. Hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully it's a Guinness or something like that.
It'll be a tenant seer. It's a tenant seer in Glasgow.
Well, I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll chat soon.
Thanks,
man. Thanks
too,
so much for having us.
Yeah,
thanks
really
to everyone
appreciate
for listening to us too.
Of course. Have a good one. Peace.
Right, much
Thanks,
love.
man.
Peace. Bye.